Hello guys, we're back in Mill Hill. You're joining me here for one of my learner's tests. Recently she passed this one, so just watch how she does and I'll talk you through. So I've mentioned in previous videos that sometimes you get pedestrians walking in this car park, and this is happening now, so our learner's done well to kind of just stop there for a second, give them some space, let them move out the way, and then now she's on her way. And then coming out of here, you want to check that mirror on that tree, just make sure there's no other car coming through. And we're turning right here, but you don't want to position yourself too far to the right. So our learner's done nicely to position herself a bit left, but she's gone a bit too far over the giveaway line. This was her first driver fault, so she's gone a bit over the line, not too far, not enough to affect other cars too much, but she could have stopped a bit earlier. And coming out of here can be very tricky, so you want to take your time. If it's busy, just wait until it's you get a nice gap. Don't force your way out, because this is where you'd be questioning yourself, thinking, why am I here? Am I taking too long? Am I gonna get a fault for taking so long? But if there are cars whizzing by you from the sides, left and right, there's nothing really you can do but wait. So just be patient until you see a nice enough gap, and once you see that, you take it, like our learner's done now. So that's really good. Going straight at the roundabout. Could have been a sticky situation there with the other car, but our learner dealt with that nicely. So at times you will get other cars or other drivers doing stuff they shouldn't do, or causing a slight issue for you, so just be ready for those, because you are getting tested for that as well. Sometimes it might seem unfair, but that's what you are getting tested for, that you can actually handle anything you get thrown at, that gets thrown at you in the real world when you're driving. Going to the infamous stop sign here, where a few people have failed here. Check out my other videos of me and another driving instructor doing mock tests, and see how he did on there. Remember, this is a 30-mile-an-hour section here, but you can't really go too fast as you're going around this bend, because it's not wide enough, and there's a lot of bends here as well. So just take your time to increase your speed. There's no need to rush. And pulling over, don't get too close to the car in front, otherwise it's going to be difficult to come out. So here, I think you might be getting independent driving here with a sat nav. You can see the reflection of the sat nav there. I think that's where they started independent driving. Moved off nicely there. It would have been easier if she didn't get so close to the car, but she's done really well to move off safely there into the 20 zone as well. So remember, on the sat nav it will tell you what the speed limit of that road is, but be careful, you still want to be looking around for speed limit signs, because sometimes they could get it wrong. It could be saying 30 miles an hour, but they recently changed it to a 20, but it hasn't been updated on the sat nav, or it might say 30 for instance, but there's a temporary speed limit there. So just use your eyes and look around to see what the actual speed limit is. So another stop. That was quite quick actually from the last stop. They do that sometimes. I think this is where they're setting up the independent driving. So before, I think it was just a normal stop and then driving on again, and then this is where they're setting up the sat nav to begin the independent driving. Another good move off. and then back into a 30-mile-an-hour zone. So I got to mention, our learner was quite nervous to begin with, especially with the days leading up to the test, but I was really proud of the way she handled it on the test. She managed to get a grip of the nerves and done the test and passed, as you'll see shortly. So the sat nav here is telling her to turn right, or telling her to take the second exit, because the sat navs usually, they use a different sort of terms. So an examiner might say on here, turn right at the roundabout, but a sat nav will say take the second exit, which is this one here. So you just need to get used to how the sat nav uses certain words, especially before you go on your test. Can't see if it's raining or not there, but the wipers were put on for a second. Maybe that was the show me section. And here the sat nav will be saying take the third exit at the roundabout, which is towards the right. So if there's no sat nav on this section, if you come down here, you might get asked to follow signs for Brent Cross, or the examiner might just say turn right, third exit. Luckily there's not too much going on there, so our learner's gone straight into the roundabout, and the lights changed. So we had practiced this quite a few times because it was a bit tricky to begin with, but let's see how she gets on. Positioning well so far, because a lot of people, when you go here for the first time, they'll try to use that lane on the right, but that lane is taking you back to where you came from, which is not really where you're trying to go. You're trying to go to the next exit, which is you can use this lane or the one on the left to do that. So at the moment she's in the correct lane, and she'll just need to signal left once she goes a bit more forward, and watch out for any other road users on the left and on the right as well sometimes, because people use the right sometimes to come off when they shouldn't really do that. They should use the left lane or the middle lane. So here, just keeping to the right as she comes off, because there are sometimes cars on the left side. And you notice here the roundabout actually takes you out into the right lane, and then at some point you got to check your mirrors and move over to the left, which is what our learner's done. So that's really good. So sometimes on the next roundabout they will get you to turn left first exit, but on this one we're going to be going straight second exit towards Brent Cross. And if you're coming from this side of this roundabout, it's not too difficult because it's controlled by lights, but if you're coming from the other side and turning right, for instance, or going straight, it can be a bit tricky because of the keep clears that are on there. They've got quite a big keep clears, and you got to join it using your judgment as well, and you can't rely on lights. But here, as long as the lights are green, you can go through. You have a little quick check on the right and make sure nothing's coming through by mistake, and then carry on, keeping left, signaling left. Now checking the mirrors on both sides, because sometimes people will come from the right and get a bit too close. That was really well done. And here turning, okay, you're going straight for now. I thought they were going to turn left there, but they're going straight. So remember, handling test centre is around the corner from here, so this is a section that they could use for handling as well. And sometimes they'll get you to move over to the middle lane, so they might say something like, when it's safe, can you move to the middle lane? Or when they go further down, they might say, can you follow signs for the A41, which will then make you go into the middle lane. So just listen out for the instruction and then do what they've been told. So if it's a lane change, don't leave it too late, start doing it from early, check your mirrors nice and early, signal, and then move over when it's safe. So I'm seeing signs for roadworks here, and I can see that the right lane is closed. I didn't see how far away it was, but when you see signs like that, it's really important to pay attention to them, because they are going to affect how you drive. They are going to affect the traffic conditions, because people from the right lane will start moving over to the middle, and then maybe people from the middle lane will start coming over to your lane as well. So in that case, when you see signs like that, start paying attention. Maybe even reduce your speed if you need to. Check who's around you as well, so that you can plan accordingly. So I think because of that lane closure, it's a bit of traffic, because you normally don't get traffic this much around here. Maybe because of the time, actually, because this was around her test started at 9:07, so this is probably a few minutes later, maybe before 9:30. So maybe that's why there's a bit of traffic down here. Usually this bit's quite quiet. You'd go through here and normally at like 40 something miles an hour, going all the traffic lights, but right now the traffic is building up quite far back. And in these situations where you got lots of cars in those lanes moving slowly, be very careful, because some of them will try to go into your lane, especially if they can see that your lane's moving faster. They'll try to nip in there quickly, so just be cautious of that and watch out for any sudden turns, and also look out for any motorcycles that are filtering through the traffic, because you will get that sort in these sort of conditions. So I've cut out about 5 minutes worth of footage there, because we're just going slow in traffic. It was a bit boring, nothing much was happening. So we're about 5 minutes further down the road, and we're turning left, and you notice that she waited for that car to move a bit first before she tried to squeeze into that lane. That was really good. You don't want to be trying to squeeze into a space just because you're turning left. Make sure there's enough space first before you try to squeeze in there. She's doing really well to slow down for these small gaps. She had an issue before with the size of the car. She used to go quite quickly through those small gaps. If you check one of the mock tests, actually, which I'll add onto the link here, you see she nearly failed on the mock test for going too quickly through a tight gap, but she's doing really well so far with those. Coming up to a mini roundabout here. I think we're turning right. Let's see where they go. And you can see there's a car on the right, but there's also cars ahead. They should be moving really, but I think they're maybe unsure what to do. Can't see if it's a learner, but once that's it, once that side is clear, then we can move. So that car could have gone, because the cars on the right were blocking our learner, so they could have actually gone, but maybe they just wanted to wait. But it was easy for us, for our learner, once the right side was clear for her, she can just go, because the other car had to wait anyway. Going through this road is quite wide, but then we're turning left into a really narrow road where you could potentially get a meeting situation pretty much straight away, and our learner's done well to go in there slowly in case somebody was coming through. See, there's barely enough space for one car through here, so if a car was to come down, she would have to find somewhere to stop, or the other car would have to find somewhere to stop. So in these sort of roads, don't go here fast, and start looking for spaces that you can stop into from early. Don't wait until you see a car. Have a plan beforehand. I think that car has stopped for them, so thank you. I was stopping anyway. Rolling back a little bit there. I think this is a bit of a hill, so She sorted it out, wasn't a big deal. But just be careful, if you're on a slight slope like that, you want to be make sure you got your biting point before you do anything else, otherwise the car will roll back. And here turning left, and you can see it's really steep here, so she has to do this properly, otherwise she's going to roll back. And when you're doing this, check that there's no one behind you as well before you try to move. Be sure there's no one crossing the road behind you. But she's done that really well, because that probably can't tell on that video there, but that's really steep there. So that was a nice hill start. And we're stopping again. So you see that you do a lot of stops on this test. So be prepared for that. Do a lot of practice as well, where you're stopping, moving off again, stopping, moving off again. This is quite close to this car though. Usually in this situation the examiner would have told and don't worry about the driveway, but I think she tried to avoid parking on the driveway and she got quite close. If you get in a situation, you can reverse back a bit before you try to drive on, which is exactly what our learner is doing now, because that would have been way too close to try to move off from there. Sometimes the examiner will tell you as well you can reverse back, but if they don't tell you, just use your own initiative and reverse back before you try to move on, otherwise you can end up hitting that car. So well done for that. And they're now driving past this really steep hill. So on the left here, sometimes the test will get you to come from that side over there, and it's super steep. So if you can do that hill, you can pretty much do any hill in the world, because that hill there is very, very steep. And if you're going to do a test in Hendon or Mill Hill, make sure you practice doing like super steep hills, because if you get that hill there, it will be a challenge if you don't know how to do it properly. Going down this road, it's quite narrow, but it's decent enough to go a good pace. But further down it does get narrower, so just be careful, because there's parked cars further down. Right now there's no parked cars, so it's nice and easy. But the further down you go, the more cars will appear parked. So like here, you see you have to move over a bit to the right to go around these parked cars, because the lane that we were in before has now got parked cars in it. So just be careful also of any vehicles coming down the road, and especially any buses, because they will have priority since their lane is completely clear and our lane is blocked. So we would have to give them priority if there was anybody there. So you see, constantly change, road changing. 1 minute it's wide, next minute it's narrow. So keep making adjustments as you're going through, checking the mirrors as you go around those parked cars, and then checking your left mirror as you're going back as well, back to your lane. So it's constantly assessing who's around you and then checking the mirrors before you change directions. It's really important that you do that. So you see here the speed limit has gone back down to 20. And turning left, so this doesn't look like a turn, but it's actually a left turn here, so you need to put a signal on as well for that. And then turning left at the end again, and so another signal needs to be put on here. Another reminder of what the speed limit is. Make sure you see the giveaway lines and check the right properly before coming out. Just keeping in mind that it's still 20 miles an hour as you go through. See, we're slightly on the wrong side because you have to be, because those parked cars. And then going back to 30, but immediately you've got a really sharp bend with those warning arrows telling you that it's really sharp, so you don't want to like go straight to 30 miles an hour there. It's going to be very difficult to control, so just keep it nice and slow as you go around. And then turning left again. So you see there's a lot of small roads, so that this road will start there but then finish here. So they'll tell you at the end of this road turn left again. And especially if it's a sat nav, it will tell you kind of late. It won't tell you like from before. It will tell you turn left, and then as soon as you turn into that road, you say at the end of this road turn left. So you need to be prepared for that instruction. And the best way to kind of get around that is by looking at the sat nav from early, so you can see the general direction where it's asking you to go before you get to there, because the voice will tell you kind of as you get there, but the diagram will show you and the map will show you from before. So get used to looking at the map as well. You want to treat it like a mirror. Don't stare at it, just look at it every now and again so you get a picture of where you're going. Just makes it a lot easier. So I think this is the temporary light here. So you want to be checking your right mirror to go around this sign, because you see you're swinging to the right to go around it. So make sure you're checking that right mirror before you change that direction. So those are the places where you might get little minors here and there. But if somebody was there and you don't check the right mirror properly, let's say a biker's going around you don't see them, that would actually be a serious rather than just a minor fault. Or if you do it too many times, even if no one is there, then that could also turn into a serious fault. So just get used to checking your mirrors before you move any sort of direction. Just make it a habit. So now after this bend, we're approaching quite a large roundabout, Mill Hill Circus, and we're going straight second exit. So if you come in this way, it can be a bit tricky. Joining it is not too difficult, but if you look on the floor, there's a lot of keep clear signs everywhere, and if you're not careful, you end up actually blocking one of the keep clear signs. So you need to be really careful here how you do it, because you see when you block the keep clear signs, it stops the flow of traffic from the right there. So you need to be really careful here. You want to make sure you can see a space that you can stop in that's not a keep clear. And before you go forward as well, you want to make sure that the right is clear. You can see our learner's been here for quite a while, but it's normal. If it's busy, it's busy. There's nothing really you can do. And now she's made a way forward. And there's a nice space just behind this car. Go forward a tiny bit more. That way she's not in the keep clear. I think the car behind might be in the keep clear. So if there was already a car or a couple of cars here, you want to stay, don't come onto the roundabout, stay where you are until you see a nice space. And then coming off here, you want to be checking the right mirror as well, because you see both lanes come off, so you want to check both the left and the right mirror there. Then going through the high street, this can get quite busy at times. People walking out, pedestrians, cars pulling out of parking spaces, cars stopping suddenly trying to park. So you don't want to drive too fast in here. You've got pedestrian crossings changing to red as well. So just keep an eye open and move off smoothly without going too quick, and be ready for anything that gets in your way. Going past Mill Hill Broadway station, the bus station and the train station there, and turning left at this roundabout. Make sure you can see people coming from the right side, but it looks like it was clear there. So our learner kept it moving, which was good. No need to wait if you can see clearly that there's no one there. And then approaching this roundabout, which a lot of learners miss for some reason. It's almost like it's invisible until they get too close, but right now the bus is slowing down, which should give you, our learners a chance to see that something is there, which is done that really nicely. And then now coming back to the test center, turning left, keeping it slow through here, checking that mirror as well to make sure there's no one coming through. Remember, until you've finished, until you've parked up, until the engine's off, the test is not over. So even here, people have failed here, and even further down, just before they switch the engine off, they failed. So I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but just trying to give you a realistic picture of what might happen. Just be careful, stay focused the whole time until you actually have been told to switch the engine off. So you notice our learner hasn't done any maneuvers during the drive, so now it's going to have to be done in the test center car park. So it was either going to be a forward bay park or a reverse bay park. So now they're doing a reverse bay park. So she's chosen to go a bit more forward. Just getting a reference point right, or trying to get a reference point right anyway, so we'll see how she does. So I'm actually in the background somewhere, just in the distance. I didn't want to get too close because I didn't want to distract her, but I was just in the background somewhere waiting for the test to finish so I could read the result. But once I could see her doing a bay park, I knew that this is all she had to do to pass, because if she had failed before, they wouldn't have asked her to do the bay park. So this was promising so far. Going back slowly, checking all around. So allowing it to go quite a lot to the right here. Maybe she's got a plan. Now she's turning a bit more left to get it straighter. But I don't think that worked. So she's gone back out again to correct it, which is allowed, but this also gave her a driving fault. Only a minor one though, so nothing really to stress about. So it's coming back. At this point she started going a bit fast. I would have been slowing down a bit more near the end here, and I'm watching in the background panicking, thinking stop, but she's managed to stop, and she passed the test. The examiner's telling her now what she's done well. So yeah, I was really happy with that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one, and yeah, take care. Bye.